exhibitions include the Maxfield's Engine House in 2024 and Hamilton Street Gallery in 2020. And his most recent small group exhibition was in 2015 at 70 South Gallery in Morristown, New Jersey. For Peter, photography is an ongoing journey of capturing the essence of urban life. His latest series, Urban New Jersey Walks, showcases his longtime exploration of northern New Jersey, focusing on towns from Union City to Jersey City. Through his lens, he documents the unique thematic and often gritty characters of these communities, revealing both the physical landscape and the spirit of the people who live and work there. His work emphasizes the visual identity of these urban environments, highlighting their quirks and distinctive features, which often go unnoticed. With a career that bridges both design and photography, Peter continues to seek out new ways to tell stories through the lens of his camera. Rocio de Alba is a Salvadoran conceptual lens-based artist based in Queens, New York. She holds a BFA in photography from the School of Visual Arts and is an award-winning self-published book designer. With a passion for teaching, Rocio has shared her experience in photography at various art institutions. Her work has earned her several prestigious grants, including support from the Queen's Council on the Arts and the New York Foundation for the Arts. Notably, Rocio was an artist in residence at the Center for Photography at Woodstock in 2018. Her work has been exhibited internationally and featured in prominent publications such as CNN, the New York Times, PDN, Vogue, and LensScratch. Rocio's series has been displayed in galleries across the United States, including the Blue Sky Gallery in Oregon and Foley Gallery in New York. Rocio's art explores the themes of personal transformation and empowerment, particularly through her project highlighting women in long-term recovery from addiction. As a recovering addict herself, Rocio seeks to challenge the stereotypical portrayal of female addicts, instead documenting women who have embraced sobriety for over 10 years. Through extensive research and interviews, she captures their strength and resilience, providing a platform to share their stories in hopes of inspiring others. Her project has been recognized for its depth, and her first solo show, Honor Thy Mother, toured internationally, including exhibitions at the Griffin Museum of Photography and the Yixian International Photography Festival in China. Rocio's work remains dedicated to elevating underrepresented voices, focusing on the strength, dignity, and perseverance of women in recovery.
Suzette Dushi is a photographer based in New York City and Long Island. Originally from Turkey, Dushi studied marketing and worked in banking before studying photography at the International Center of Photography in New York City. Over the past decade, her work has been part of several group exhibitions all over the world, including the 2017 Istanbul Biennale and Soho Photo Photography in 2022. Since 2019, her work has earned her many awards and has allowed her to be featured in various publications. The project featured in Dushi's photographs at ALFA's exhibition started 4 years ago as her response to the pandemic, as well as her father's Alzheimer's disease. The quiet and calm of nature soothed her, and her project became about making the viewer feel the same connection that she had felt. Entirely in black and white, the lack of color in photographs allows you to be focused on their distinct forms and appreciate their unique structure. Dushi purposefully focuses on bare and twisted trees to go against what one would find traditionally beautiful in nature. Based in Varna, Bulgaria, TSVETA UBCHEVA started her formal art education by being mentored by several photography teachers at various schools. Her artwork has been exhibited, published, and won prizes throughout her home country. A multidisciplinary artist alongside her photography, UBCHEVA has designed jewelry, film art, and has collaborated with other artists to create artist books. She takes inspiration from various interests, specifically in spirituality, Bulgarian culture, and traveling. The photographs on view at ALFA's 2025 photography exhibition are from her project Universe, where she focuses on the mathematical patterns that can be found within nature and seed of life. A series showcasing jewelry focusing on the various ways the number 7 is featured throughout our world. Through these projects, UBCHEVA seamlessly merges art and math in her work, allowing viewers to see the overlooked connections between the two. Walter Plotnick is a photographer based in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, receiving degrees from the Tyler School of Art and University of the Arts. Plotnick's work has been featured in exhibitions and publications since the 2000s. His artwork is part of private collections in the United States, Austria, and Italy, and he is represented by multiple galleries. Besides photography, Plotnick has instructed at various colleges in Pennsylvania, currently teaching at Pennsylvania State University and Montgomery County Community College. The photographs shown at ALFA are from Plotnick's series, Surprise Inside, which features collages printed to emulate flattened cardboard. The photos evoke feelings of nostalgia from the sepia tones, while the folding seems to both contrast and accentuate the organic shapes created by the human figures. The boxes allow Plotnick to play with the idea of storytelling, as well as the idea of the photo as an object. To summarize everything, this exhibit is a catalyst of socially and culturally significant ideas through the extraordinary artworks that are displayed here today. We are eternally grateful for your attendance today of this virtual exhibition full of incredible artists. We want to thank our sponsors for putting their faith into this exhibition and our gallery as a whole. Your support helps expand our mission in uplifting artists and expanding the artistic community. Please take the time to look through the exhibit, whether it's virtual or in person. As a reminder before we end, the in-person opening is January 24th from 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. at the gallery. Once again, thank you all so much for joining us for this reception. So we will now transition to the Art Steps virtual gallery, and we will go through all of the artworks we have chosen between me as a curator and the lead curatorial intern, Paula. Just give us at least 2 minutes to get that up, and stay tuned.
Right, so now we're going to talk about the artists as mentioned by Marisa, and I encourage our interns and artists themselves to write in the chat about the artworks we're going to discuss. So Marisa will go ahead and start us off.
To start off, I would like to talk about Bob Leonard's work. Leonard's work exhibits the essence of childhood playfulness. His work observes the external physicality of objects from everyday society, humanizing the mundane in every aspect. Conversely, I would like to talk about the image titled Stories 1. From the captured lighting that bounces off 2 colorful chairs to the aesthetically classic yellow of a Volkswagen Beetle car, Leonard cleverly uses these lighting techniques to serve its purpose for each assemblage. I enjoy the simplicity that each photo brings in this piece, as it encourages nostalgia, full of dreams and finding joy in the small things in life. And to transition to the next piece, titled Stories 43, this one in particular interests me the most because of its theme of the color red in particular, and the variations of use upon each object within the assemblage. The top right image has an interesting composition, which gives us a sense of liminal space due to the position of the red pipe. I find that the neon lighted girls, girls, girls sign contrasts with the other 3 images, since the other objects are older and worn, while the sign resembles the modernization of New York. And in one of our interns' comments on this artwork, Sean says, Bob Leonard's work is a beautiful celebration of geometry and color, and it resonates deeply with me. The way he plays with lines and planes feels deliberate yet dynamic, creating a rhythm that guides my eyes effortlessly across the compositions. It's like following a silent melody. Each panel is its own note, and together they form a harmonious symphony. And now Paul will now focus on Bert Solomon and his work.
I'd like to take a look at Bert Solomon's works. I liked the timelessness of his works as well as how they captured universal human experiences. I would like to start with the image that's given the name New York City, New York from 2009. Within the image, the essence of the busy life of New York City is captured. The medium of black and white photography creates a snapshot of a time that does not need to be defined by a specific date. All that can be inferred by the viewer is that this woman and the surrounding cars and subsequent drivers are busy living in their own worlds and they are not aware they are even being observed. So with that, another work by Bert Solomon that I would like to highlight is Street Fair Suite, Newburgh, New York from 2012. And these are 4 images that come together to create one piece. Similarly to the rest of his work, the choice of black and white photographs creates a sense that the viewer could potentially be looking back at the past or be in the present. These feelings capture the audience while also highlighting the intricacies of everyday human life. And one of our interns, Sean, says how Bert Solomon's photography feels like slices of life captured with incredible thoughtfulness. The people in the photographs are unposed and unvarnished, and his work feels very personal. Especially in a world that is racing towards the instant and the digital, it feels grounding to know that he is taking the time to develop film and create prints by hand. Marisa will continue with our next featured artist.
On the next artist, we will explore the psychological depths of Dick and Roy's abstracted photographs, inspired by the withered hand-me-down toys from his childhood. One piece in particular, titled Untitled 7, inspires me to embrace the natural world with its contrasting colors of orange in the paper pieces and the greens with a touch of Prussian blues in the background. The scraps of orange paper bunched onto the left side while spreading into the right resembles the flight of monarch butterflies in migration, looking for a place to call home again. And another art piece I would like to highlight is the swirling monochromatic motions of Untitled 10. The abstracted and uncanny swirls moves quite fast in its motion and emotional state due to its chaotic feelings presented within it. It has touches of light in some corners from left to right, resembling a light at the end of a dark tunnel. And in reference to one of our interns' comments on this artwork, Sean says, "What I love most about it is how it takes the overlooked, the aged, and the forgotten, and transforms them into something so visually rich and meaningful." And now we will turn to Paula to talk about David Desroches.
The next artist is David Desroches, whose images capture the beauty of natural landscapes. I would like to take a look at Alaskan iceberg. The intense colors that are depicted give an almost fictional feel to the natural world. The iceberg within this image has a range of vivid blues and whites that seem somewhat otherworldly, but they demonstrate nature's natural beauty and awe. Another image from David that I would like to highlight is the one titled Island in the Sky. The composition of this image makes the viewer question whether the grass is actually floating or not. Upon taking a closer look, the interaction between the tranquil water and the reflection of the sky create feelings of peace and wonder. So our intern Sean says that David's work is striking as a masterful blend of observation and imagination. It is clear how his extensive travels to Alaska, Costa Rica, and the Galapagos have shaped his perspective. His work also serves as a call to action, as many of his subjects are under threat, which adds an extra layer of meaning to his photographs. We will now move on with Marisa to our next artist.
To shift our focus, we turn to the landscape and monumental photographs of Edward Volpe. His photographs are meticulously captured to express the grandness of his vision, from the skylines of New York to the majesty of Roman landscapes. This one particular piece, titled NYC Reflections, is an elaborate display of the New York City financial district from a panoramic perspective. This particular image was stitched together using an astounding 32 images. I like how this photograph makes the entire city look as if it is a standalone kingdom of integrity, a representation of American prosperity. And to transition to another piece I particularly like that contrast to the cool atmosphere is Roman sunset. This still image, which is another panoramic viewpoint of the Castel Sant'Angelo historical building in Rome, Italy. The atmosphere invokes a sense of warmth and the sunlight as the clouds cascade towards the light in the distance. I enjoyed this magical and ethereal capture of historical, cultural, and religious architecture. And in reference to one of our interns' comments on these pieces, Katie says his aerial photography series redefines how we perceive the landscapes around us, highlighting the hidden artistry of natural and urban environments and the historical aspect behind them. Volpe's work balances asymmetry and order, turning everyday terrains into dynamic compositions. Lead curatorial intern Paula will now discuss Jane Sudalter's work.
Next, we will take a look at works from Jane Sudalter, whose images capture subjects that are not immediately identifiable, which invites the viewer to ponder the image. I would like to start with the work, The Runaway. The use of perspective and color work together to create a human-like figure that does not actually exist. The subject in the image is not someone running away, but the viewer can create their own story from the abstract figures that they are presented with. Next, I would like to draw your attention to the work titled Whispering Wisdom. The subject of this work is a tree whose bark resembles that of an old woman or even a wizard, depending on your imagination. The tree becomes a character that conveys different feelings and messages depending on the viewer and the story they are feeling. So Katie, one of our interns, mentioned how Jane's photography is fascinating because it uncovers beauty in unsuspecting places. Her work feels as if she is revealing a hidden universe beneath the surface of everyday objects, while simultaneously embracing imperfection and impermanence. Marisa will continue with our next photographer.
To transition, Jessica Margot is a photographer of angelic and ghostly presence of the oceanic waves. Her work was born from solitude away from family and friends, creating a tense yet invigorating style of imagery. This particular piece, titled Harmony, brings me a sense of peace in observing its majestic movements, an integral understanding of the ocean's power. The wave itself almost resembles an entity coming out of the deep ocean, attempting to find its peace once more in harmony. In addition, another image titled Transcendence is a more abstracted image from the previous one. It is less obvious to the naked eye whether it is a continuous waterfall or a pool of smoking ocean water. The blurs of reality makes the subject fascinating because of the ambiguity. And in reference to one of our interns' comments, Paula says, the images from Margot are identifiable as being a body of water without having the other factors of beaches, which really emphasizes that the water and how it moves is the main focus of her work. And now Paula will present Kay Kenny.
Before that, we actually have a comment from our intern Ikra, who says that she really enjoys the blurs because it lets you decide what you see in the art of Margot's work. Right. And now we will take a look at our next artist, Kay Kenny, whose works capture feelings of reality blending into fantasy. I would like to start by looking at moonflowers. At first glance, the objects in the image are pretty straightforward, but as the viewer spends more time on them, they begin to feel a bit surreal. The use of blurred objects in the image also creates a sense of being immersed in the scenery. The next work we will be viewing is Starburst 4. So, Hannah captures the beauty of nature while also invoking feelings of fantasy in her images. The nighttime scenery creates a sense of wonder, as well as making the viewer question what they are seeing. The perspective of the image also creates a sense that the plants are larger than they actually are, which further creates a feeling of being in a fantasy world. In addition to what I stated, something that I really enjoy about Kenny's work was how the perspective heightens the feelings of being in a somewhat fantastical world. As I mentioned earlier, there's the sense of movement, which creates feelings that we as viewers are moving through the garden as if we were on some kind of journey. Marisa will now talk about some works from our next artist.
On the topic of fantasy, we will now discuss the artist Neil Cole and his deeply evoking series of portraits called Krampuslauf, inspired by the mythological alpine figure Krampus and other winter mythological figures. Krampuslauf 5, in this piece, we see what appears to be a person wearing a cat mask and has large claws, ready to pounce towards us from the shadows. The image mystifies the creature in a deep haze across the foreground, presenting a hauntingly beautiful dynamic to the viewer. I would like to also shed light on the piece called Krampuslauf 25. Not only displays one, but two figures in the tight composition with the mystique of curiosity. This photo particularly attracts me because of the plastic bags cascading down from the masked head, while the other figure to the right is presented as a woman in a masquerade-type mask over her eyes. Therefore, this piece gives us a sense of artistic liberty for the viewer, filling the blanks to the imagination. And to add to my own critique, stylistically, I believe his series references back to the essence of German Expressionism in the early 20th century due to its use of surreal and abstract themes. And now Paula will continue with Peter Aldrich.
But before that, we got a comment from Braylon that says, I love that these works really show a nice sense of lights and darks that really give light to the subjects. Okay. Now we will be viewing works from Peter Aldrich, who captures the spirit of the people living in the urban areas of northern New Jersey. I would like to start taking a look at the work titled Wall in Little India. The use of color highlights the intricacies of each painted section of this building. By capturing the general character of this inanimate subject, the viewer can feel the life of this part of the city as if they were there. Another image I would like to discuss is Live Poultry Market. There is color in this image that gives a sense of familiarity to the viewer. This image captures an area that I'm sure most of us would have been able to recognize, maybe not this exact place, but places that they have passed in their own life, which makes his works relatable to the viewers. The man in the image could remind them of someone that they know that they have interacted with in the past. Our intern Raylan says how Aldrich's work blends environmental exploration with a person and intimate connection to his subjects. Through his use of color, distinctive features, and thoughtful subject matter, he is able to encapsulate the culture and character of these areas, transforming them into rich, layered visual narratives. We will now continue to discuss works from another featured photographer.
Next, we'll shift our focus to the artist Rocio de Alba for captivating portraits out of normality. In the piece titled Bridget Sober, since 2001, I like how this portrait of a woman faces away from the audience, staring beyond the mystical playground. It twists the normal circumstances of a typical portrait photo, which is to see one's appearance. Since she's turned away, we are unable to place an identity upon her, and we are instead left to speculate in mystery. Her intention is to spread awareness regarding alcoholism and to protect those involved in her work. In our next observation, we will look at the photograph titled Isabella Sober since 2005. This is a hauntingly narrative-based image of a woman looking into a blurred and hazy mirror on her vanity. We're unable to identify the woman except for her dark hair and white sweater. To me, it is a powerful stance on body dysmorphia and disassociation from one's body, feeling as if you're not part of reality. And in reference to one of the comments from our curatorial interns, Rocio de Alba's Berlin's comments, Rocio de Alba's work shows intentionality. While documenting different experiences, what stands out to me is her ability to convey diverse forms of expressionism across different thematic explorations. Particularly, her works on sobriety and womanhood reveal her versatility as an artist and her dedication to unpacking complex, deeply personal topics through her lens based in medium. Also, we would like to inform everyone attending that due to unexpected personal circumstances, Rocio will not be featured in our in-person exhibition. We were very lucky to be able to present her work, even if it is in virtual format. Now, Paul will be introducing Suzette Dushy.
But in reference to Rocio de Alba's work, Dragon stated that this work provides so much emotion in such a beautiful and impactful manner. All right, and now we will be moving on. Our next artist is Suzette Dushy. Her work highlights specific trees to evoke emotional responses from the viewers by capturing the spirit and essence of nature. Let us take a look at the image titled Roots. This lone subject captures the viewer, and it is the focal point of the image. There is a sense of calm and tranquility that is conveyed within this work. And Doris says, in reference to our previous artist, I love how the woman is blurred. It really characterizes how disassociation can make one feel disconnected from their physical self. But moving on, the other work that I would like to highlight from Suzette is Fallen Warrior. This image has a bit more going on in the background, but the tree is still what the viewer is drawn towards. The use of black and white in the image creates a sense of timelessness that causes the viewer to stop and think about what they are viewing. The intricacy of the tree's branches also engages the viewer and causes them to ponder about the beauty of the natural world. And Doris also mentioned in regard to Suzette how these stark winter scenes feel both lonely and peaceful at the same time. Her photographs feel like a quiet invitation to sit and think. These aren't your typical pretty nature photos, and that's one of the reasons they evoke strong emotions in the viewer. Marisa will now move on to talk about our next artist.
As for our next artist, we will explore the creative design of TSVETA UBCHEVA, an abstract and jewelry-driven artist with a passion for flowers presented in their geometric form. And observing this image titled Fractal 1 is an abstracted form of orchid flowers with the colors of white, purple, and pink. The zooming visual effect of the flowers looks like it is attacking our senses from all angles, while its pungent motion with flight. Her abstractual forms convey birds in flight, implying that all of nature is interconnected. In another image, we are witnessing her design titled Seed of Life, intersecting with the flower in the middle of the composition, with the geometrically fading circles within a larger frame circle, with dark green as its base. The background is an ombre light to medium green shade, invoking feelings of serenity and being one with the natural elements. Thus, all aspects of UBCHEVA's work convey expressionistic interpretations of natural earth and its creation. And in reference to one of our interns' comments, Doris says, "What I find most beautiful is how familiar flowers become something completely different, but still keep their natural grace. The dark leaves peeking through add just the right touch of contrast to all the soft and flowing shapes." And to read one of our comments, UBCHEVA's images are very visually intriguing. I really like that the combination of geometric shapes with natural objects are like flowers by Mary Bianco. And now Paula will now introduce our final artist.
Artist of the night is Walter Plotnick. The submitted images to the gallery are meant to represent moments of anticipation and surprise, especially those associated with childhood nostalgia. Let us start with the work titled Witness Protection. I thought that there was some humor with the title and image, as there's a child whose eyes are being blocked from seeing what's going on in the background. This image has a sense of a younger child not being allowed to see what's going on by an older sister or parent, which I thought was pretty amusing. Next, I would like to take a view at the work Flockbox. I enjoyed figuring out what was being depicted. At first glance, the subjects are a flock of birds, with the one in the foreground being the main attraction that your eye is drawn towards. However, the inclusion of a human diver at the top is a fun twist that is almost hidden within the larger image. And Marisa mentioned how Plotnick's work contains a sense of ethereal and surrealist nature within the enclosed space of an open box as the basis of a frame. His technique of splicing his photography within a small open box presents the curious limits of society, but also the endless innovation that comes along with it. Okay, and with that, that was the last of our amazing artists for our photography exhibition. We would also like to remind you that our in-person exhibition is tomorrow, January 24th at 6:30 p.m. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us today. We hope you enjoyed it.
Hello, everyone. This is Galina from ALFA Art Gallery. I really would like to take a moment and to thank everyone that was able to attend this virtual exhibition opening. And the amazing artists that we have been able to exhibit. The exhibition is really outstanding. But also I would like to thank my amazing interns putting all this exhibition together, as well as this amazing presentation. So please give them thank you. Thank you so much.
Yes.
All right, so shall we say good night, Marisa and Paul?
Yes, thank you all so much.
Thank you, and hopefully see you tomorrow at the in-person exhibition opening. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.
Recording stopped.